Is Psalm 16:10 about Jesus? Book number 3 of the False Fulfillment Citation series available at www.amazon.com in Kindle and paperback versions. Who is speaking in Psalm 16 verses 1 through 7? A miktam of David. Preserve me, O God, for in you I put my trust. O my soul, you have said to the Lord, you are my Lord. My goodness is nothing apart from you. As for the saints who are on the earth, they are the excellent ones, in whom is all my delight. Their sorrows shall be multiplied, who hasten after another God. Their drink offerings of blood I will not offer, nor take up their names on my lips. O Lord, you are the portion of my inheritance and my cup. You maintain my lot. The lines have fallen to me in pleasant places. Yes, I have a good inheritance. I will bless the Lord, who has given me counsel. My heart also instructs me in the night seasons. So far in context, we see David speaking of his own life. Psalm 16, 8 through 9. I keep my eyes always on the Lord. With him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. How do we know this is David speaking of with him at my right hand? If we read Psalm 89, which is about David, we see in verse 25, I will set his hand also in the sea and his right hand in the rivers. This is the Most High speaking of David. God holds David's right hand. It is clear verses 1 through 8 are about David. Now to verse 9. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoices. My flesh also will rest in hope, or dwell securely, depending on the translation. So if my flesh will rest in hope, this would mean David would not be referring to his flesh decaying in the next verse. Again, we're going to get some context of Psalm 16, 7 through 9. I will bless the Lord, who have given me counsel. My reins also instruct me in the night seasons. I have set the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh shall also rest in hope. I, me, and my all refer to David so far in context. So when we get to verse 10, we're going to see who exactly David is referring to. Psalm 16, 10 through 11. For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol, nor let your devout one see the pit. So again, whose soul is David referring to? Verse 11. You show me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. In your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Again, we see the same type of language in Psalm 63 and 9. My soul clings fast to you. Your right hand upholds me. So we see David at the right hand of the Most High in different places. So in context, nor let your devout one see the pit. Some translations read your holy one or your saintly one. If you don't see the pit, you cannot decay. So this word decay has to be out of place. And what is the word for the pit? We will find out. Now that it is established David is speaking of himself, how does David describe himself? Faithful, godly, holy, saintly, devout? These are all different translations of a specific word. Let's look at some different translations of Psalm 16:10. New International Version, because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead, nor let your faithful one see decay. New Living Translation, for you will not leave my soul among the dead or allow your Holy One to rot in the grave. JPS Tanakh 1917, for thou wilt not abandon my soul to the netherworld, neither wilt thou suffer thy godly one to see the pit. Young's literal translation, For thou dost not leave my soul to Sheol, nor givest thy saintly one to see corruption. New American Bible, Revised Edition. For you will not abandon my soul to Sheol, nor let your devout one see the pit. So we see the word devout, saintly, godly, holy, and faithful, all translated from one specific word. What word is used that is translated as holy, faithful, godly, saintly, devout? It's the word Hasideka, 2623 in the Strongs. Two occurrences, Psalm 16:10 and Deuteronomy 33 verse 8. And your Urim belong to your godly man, or and thy Urim be with thy holy one. Now, who is this godly man and your holy one in Deuteronomy 33 and 8? Is it referring to Jesus as well? Of course not when you read it in context. What does Chasid mean? 2623 in the Strongs. Godly man, good, holy one, merciful, saint. Englishman's Concordance, www.biblehut.com. The Strong's Hebrew says there are 32 occurrences. Was David holy or a Chasid or a saint? We're going to see in this chapter of Psalm 32 what type of people are referred to as a Chasid or a saint. A Psalm of David, a contemplative maskil. Psalm 32 verses 1 through 3. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. Blessed is the man against whom the Lord does not count iniquity, and in whose spirit there is no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. Psalm 32, 4 through 7. For day and night your hand was heavy on me. My strength was changed into the drought of summer. Selah. I acknowledged my sin to you, and my iniquity I did not conceal. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the iniquity of my sin. Selah. For this cause, everyone who is godly will pray to you. Everyone who is a Chasid will pray to you. In a time when you may be found, surely in the floods of great waters, they will not reach him. You are my hiding place. You will preserve me from trouble. You will surround me with shouts of deliverance. Selah. How many holy ones are there? From the Strong 6918, Kadosh, holy or saint. New International Version, Deuteronomy 33 and 3. Surely it is you who love the people. All the holy ones are in your hand. All the holy ones. Who are these people? Faithful, holy, and godly. Genesis 5 and 24. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. 1 Samuel 2 and 9. He will keep the feet of his holy ones. 1 Samuel 2 and 35. And I will raise me up a faithful priest that will do according to that which is in my heart and in my mind. And I will build him a sure house, and he will walk before my anointed forever. 2 Samuel 22 and 26. With the godly thou wilt show thyself godly. With the upright man thou wilt show thyself upright. So we see here faithful, holy, godly, anointed. All these things are pertaining to people who God has favor with, and it's not one specific person. We see all the way from Genesis. Enoch walked faithfully with God, and he was taken. We see in 1 Samuel 2 and 35, a faithful priest will walk before the anointed. So that's two people right there that will be faithful, holy, or godly. Continuing with holy ones. Leviticus 11 and 44. Consecrate yourselves, therefore, and be holy, for I am holy. 2 Kings 4 and 9. And she said to her husband, Behold, now I perceive that this is an holy man of God. 2 Chronicles 35 and 3. And said to the Levites that taught all Israel, which were holy, to the Lord. Psalm 16:3. I say of the holy people who are in the land. Psalm 34:9. Fear the Lord, you his holy people. So to isolate the word Holy One just to try to fit Jesus in, because that's what the New Testament teaches, that he is like the only person that's holy, that doesn't work if you know the Tanakh. Holy ones continue. Psalm 89:5. The heavens praise your wonders, Lord, your faithfulness too, and the assembly of the holy ones. Psalms 106:16. When men in the camp were jealous of Moses and Aaron, the Holy One of the Lord. Aaron was called the Holy One of the Lord because specifically Aaron was the high priest, and that's why Korah was jealous. Holy ones continue. Daniel 4:13. I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, and there was a holy watcher coming down from heaven. Daniel 4:17. This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, in order that the living may know that the Most High rules over the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomever he wills, and sets up over it the basest of men. Zechariah 14:5. You will flee by my mountain valley, for it will extend to Azel. You will flee as you fled from the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. Then the Lord my God will come, and all the holy ones with him. So we see holy ones is an extensive teaching throughout the Tanakh. So again, we see David saying, I am holy, or a Chasid. Psalm 86:1-2. Bow down thine ear, O Lord, hear me, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my soul, for I am holy. O thou my God, save thy servant that trusteth in thee. 26:23 in the Strongs again. Everyone should be holy. Even one who has sinned can still attain this title, because we know David was not without sin. Now, with some background information, we can see the context of your Holy One in Psalm 16:10. For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. So thine Holy One can clearly be David. David is clearly established as a Holy One or a saint or a Hasid, so speaking of himself like this is not unusual at all, as we see in Psalm 86:2 and Psalm 16:10. So now that we know David is holy, now I will show him being a son of God, firstborn and higher than all kings. Psalm 89:20-27. I have found David, my servant. With my holy oil, I have anointed him, or made him the Messiah, with whom my hand shall be established. Mine arm shall also strengthen him. The enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the son of wickedness afflict him. I will beat down his foes from before his face, and plague them that hate him. But my faithfulness and my mercy shall be with him, and in my name shall his horn be exalted. I will set his hand also in the sea, and his right hand in the rivers. He shall cry unto me, Thou art my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. I will also make him my firstborn, higher than the kings of the earth. We know the phrase, my God, why hast thou forsaken me, applied to Jesus. But what does forsaken mean? If Jesus was forsaken, does God forsake his saints or his holy men? Psalm 37:28. For the Lord loves justice and does not forsake his saints. They are preserved forever, but the descendants of the wicked will be cut off. So if he does not forsake his saints, and Jesus was one of these saints or holy men, why would he think he was forsaken? David and Hezekiah. We have two verses to compare from two kings of Judah that essentially say the same thing, except Hezekiah actually uses the word for decay after he expresses gratitude for his soul being delivered from the pit, which does not mean decay. because he was sentenced to die when he recorded his prayer. David is telling us it is not yet his time. That's why his soul will not see the pit yet. Psalm 16:10. For thou dost not give me up to Sheol, or let thy godly one see the pit. Isaiah 38:17. Behold, for peace I had great bitterness, but thou hast in love to my soul delivered it from the pit of corruption. For thou hast cast all my sins behind thy back. That word for corruption or decay is 1097 in the Strongs. So we can see that the word for corruption is not in the Psalm of David, but Hezekiah uses it in his prayer, still talking about being in the pit. Knowledge of death. We can see David and Hezekiah are saying the same things, and they both knew they would eventually die. This plea for life was at a time they did not want to die. Psalm 89:48. What man is he that liveth and shall not see death? Shall he deliver his soul from the hand of the grave? Selah. So we see that nobody is exempt from death except for individuals like Enoch and Elijah, which is a whole nother conversation. 1 Kings 2:2. I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong, therefore, and show thyself a man. So David uses this same language in many of the Psalms. So are they all referring to the resurrection of Jesus? Just because it says something like his soul is going to be delivered from the grave? Job 14:13. If only you would hide me in the grave and conceal me till your anger has passed. If only you would set me a time and then remember me. We see Job saying, set a time and remember me. This would refer to a resurrection. Daniel 12:1-2. Multitudes who sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to everlasting life. Now all these people saw decay, but they will rise. They will not remain in decay or in the pit. Now remember, it says you will not allow your Holy One to see the pit in a time frame of when he did not want to die. And in David's case, it was most likely during battles. David's lifestyle. Being that David was a warrior, he was constantly in fights for his life. So it would make sense that he would not want to see his soul in Sheol or the grave, and that he did not want the Most High to allow his Holy One to see the pit. Psalm 18:5. The sorrows of hell or Sheol compassed me about. Now we know this is figurative. There's even a commentary that mentions a military context to Psalm 16:8. I have set the Lord always before me, for he is at my right hand, therefore I shall not slide. Now, if we look at the context of this phrase, shall not slide, we're going to see something. Ellicott's commentary for English readers. At my right hand, compare Psalm 109:31, Psalm 110:5, Psalm 121:5. The image seems to be a military one. The shield of the right hand comrade is a protection to the man beside him. So again, David's lifestyle would make him say something like, don't let me go to the grave and don't let me see the pit. Military context of soul redemption by David. Psalm 55:18. He has redeemed my soul in peace from the battle that was against me, for there were many against me. Psalm 69:18. Draw near to my soul and redeem it. Deliver me because of my enemies. So it is very clear in Psalm 16:10 that David could have easily been saying, do not allow me to die, go into the grave, or see the pit because of the battles that I'm constantly in. David's lifestyle. Psalm 16:9. Therefore my heart is glad and my spirit rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope. Now what does this mean? If his flesh shall rest in hope, we have two things we can deal with. One is his flesh is not going to be killed, and that means he's not going to die in battle. Or if his flesh does rest in hope, that means when he dies and goes into the grave, he's going to be resurrected, so his flesh can rest in hope because he will live again. Again, no reference to Jesus here. So we're going to look at another translation. My flesh also shall dwell in safety. This means while I am alive, I'm not going to be killed, meaning I'm not going to go into Sheol, and my soul will not see the pit, as Psalm 16:10 describes. If his flesh dwells in safety in the preceding verse of Psalm 16:10, he knows he will not die in battle. So again, if we deal with decay, grave, pit, or corruption, what word best describes what David is referring to? Strong 78:45, shakath, corruption, destruction, ditch, grave, pit. Englishman's Concordance, we have 23 occurrences. The pit, Job 33:18. He keeps back his soul from the pit and his life from perishing by the sword. Again, we see someone's soul being saved from the pit and from perishing by the sword, which means in the context of a battle, just like David is expressing. Ezekiel 19:4. The nations also heard of him. He was taken in their pit, and they brought him with chains to the land of Egypt. Again, this word does not mean decay. Jonah 2:6. To the roots of the mountains I sank down. The earth beneath barred me in forever. But you, Lord my God, brought my life up from the pit. Why is decay not used here? What is the word for decay that describes something decaying? Because if you can use it in Psalm 16:10, you should be able to use it here. But we see Jonah and Job and Ezekiel are not talking about decaying. They're just talking about being in a pit or a place we can refer to as a grave. Decay, again, it's translated as decay, but the usage does not go with the translation. NAS Exhaustive Concordance 78:45. We see two occurrences, Psalm 16:10 and Psalm 49:9. We all see decay from the time we are born. We begin to die. So we know people do decay, but that's not the context of what David is saying. More on context. While people are alive, they are decaying. We begin to die as soon as we are born. This is an ancient view of life that we still discuss today. Sirach 10:9-11, Revised Standard Version. How can he who is dust and ashes be proud? For even in life his bowels decay. A long illness baffles the physician. The king of today will die tomorrow. For when a man is dead, he will inherit creeping things and wild beasts and worms. The Douay-Rheims Bible is a translation of the Bible from the Latin Vulgate. Genesis 25:8. And decaying he died in a good old age, and having lived a long time and being full of days, and was gathered to his people. So again in Genesis 25:8, and decaying he died in a good old age, which would mean we are dying as soon as we begin. Context. Psalm 16:8. I have set the Lord always before me, for he is at my right hand. Therefore, I shall not slide. This could also read, I shall not fall in decay. Psalm 16:8. Before me, because he is at my right hand, I shall not be moved. We see different translations render this differently. This word, 4131 in the Strong, says be carried, cast, be out of course, be fallen in decay, exceedingly fallen down. Psalm 16:8 in the NAS. He is at my right hand, I will not be shaken. You can even translate this as to totter, I shall not totter. So looking at the language, we can see what David is really trying to say in the verses leading up to Psalm 16:10. You're not going to let me slip and fall and end up in the grave from these battles that I'm always in. More context of fallen in decay, or the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance definition: to totter, shake, slip, be carried, cast out, be out of course, exceedingly fallen down. An example, Psalm 17:5. Hold up my goings in thy paths, that my footsteps slip not. We see David and others talking about not falling in battle and not falling in decay spiritually and financially. Leviticus 25:35. And if thy brother be waxen poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him, yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. So we see fallen in decay is concerning not slipping or sliding or being shaken. Now, if we turn our attention, we see Jesus did see decay. Acts 13:34. And concerning that he raised him up from the dead, now no more to return to corruption. He said thus, I will give you the sure mercies of David. Now no more to return to corruption. Let's look at the Greek, 13 and 12. It says destruction, decay, corruption. Now let's look at the word for rotten and decay in the Hebrew, 75:38. Rottenness, decay. Job 13 and 28. While I am decaying like a rotten thing, like a garment that is moth eaten. From the Strong 75 and 39. Strong 75 and 38. We see the same roots of this word. So we can't say that rotting and decay is the same as the pit. So if you no more return to decay, that means you were there. If you are paying attention, the verse tells us Jesus did see decay again in Acts 13:34. And that's for the fact that he raised him from the dead, no more to return to corruption. He did see decay, but will no more. Let's look at the Strongs. 3371, no more. 5290, to return. 1312, decay. No more to return, decay. So it's very clear that he was there at one point. So if we go back to the context, Psalm 16:10 does not say decay, it says the pit. The word for pit does not mean decay. 78:45 in the Strongs. Destruction, ditch, grave, pit. Figuratively, destruction, corruption, destruction, ditch, grave, pit. It even says especially as a trap. More context dealing with decay or grave or pit. Psalm 35 and 7. For without cause they have hid from me their net in the pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Now, did they dig decay for his soul or a grave? Proverbs 26:27. Whoever digs a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolls a stone, it will return on him. Again, we do not see decay as a definition for this word. So in Proverbs 26 and 27, it doesn't say whoever digs decay, it says whoever digs a pit. So again, we're going to go to Jonah and see if he was in a pit, hell, or decay. The same words used in Psalm 16:10 for pit or corruption and hell or Sheol are here in Jonah with the same context. 75:85. Jonah 2:2. And he said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me out of the belly of hell, or Sheol, cried I, and thou heardest my voice. So we see Jonah is in hell, or a grave, or a pit. We will continue. Was Jonah in decay or a pit, or simply a place where he would die? Jonah 2:6. 21st century King James Version. I went down to the bottoms of the mountains. The earth with her bars was about me forever. Yet hast thou brought up my life from corruption, O Lord my God. Modern English Version. I went down to the foundations of the mountains. The earth with its bars was around me forever. Yet you have brought up my life from the pit, O Lord my God. There goes 78:45. From the pit. Why not put decay here? There was an agenda to put decay when it does not fit the context of what David or Jonah was referring to. Conclusion. Do not be fooled by these false fulfillment citations. Let's look at one more example in Psalms 30, verses 1 through 3. A song for the dedication of the temple of David. I will extol thee, O Lord, for thou hast lifted me up, and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me. O Lord, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit. Is this referring to the resurrection of Jesus? No. They take many episodes of David's life and paint Jesus in his place. The False Fulfillment Citation Series. This 10-book series is dedicated to the top 10 go-to verses used by the missionaries. The book series is available at www.amazon.com. I can be reached at cloudsoftorah@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Devout Mays. Thanks for listening.